Helping now, new details following a grisly discovery in Hollywood. A 15-year-old girl found dead inside a singer's
sacrifice. Mutual. You understand?
Yeah. Appreciate
Michael Jordan. What about him? His dad, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. You're out in Hollywood. A lot of people come up.
Music industry, and there's a lot of weird things that go on. These meetings they be having, it's more than just that. They plan things.
It's about David unaliving Celeste may have been like a ritual, like a sacrificial ritual, which I can see that being a possibility just because when we're talking about like old sacrificial like rituals, they do seek out virgins or seek out young women to sacrifice. That is something that they used to do. Maybe that David, during his gore content and during all the messed up stuff he was looking at, maybe he found content about sacrificial rituals.
So after Kanye dropped that line about sacrifices in Hollywood, a lot of people brushed it off as just another wild rant. But now, with what just came out about D4vd and Celeste, those words sound completely different. Celeste was found inside D4vd's Tesla, and according to reports, her body had been there for a long time before anyone discovered it. For many, this didn't seem random at all. It looked like exactly what Kanye was warning about, a so-called sacrifice tied to fame. Except this one went completely off the rails. Instead of staying hidden, everything spilled into the spotlight, leaving David in the middle of outrage as Celeste's family and friends demand justice. But that's not all. Disturbing details are starting to surface about David's behavior, from his dark obsession with twisted visuals to openly admitting that he used to watch shocking content just to numb himself. Even worse, insiders now claim that plenty of people in the industry already knew what David was into, yet nobody said a word. That's the part making people question everything. So here's the burning question. Could Kanye's theory about Hollywood using sacrifices to control artists explain why David's story spiraled so fast? And the biggest question of all, why has David still not been arrested when he looks like the main suspect in all of this? Let's break it down. To give you some background, Celeste Rivas first went missing back in April 2024, and after a whole year with no clues, most people thought the case had gone completely cold. But then, out of nowhere on September 8, 2025, her body was discovered inside the trunk of a Tesla registered to David, and that's when everything exploded. Reports said the body had been there for some time, and investigators confirmed it was Celeste through dental records. While the exact cause of death couldn't be determined, authorities have now officially labeled her death a homicide. Now let's talk about David, because here's where things take a disturbing turn. Online investigators started connecting dots between him and Celeste, pointing to screenshots and Discord conversations that allegedly linked them together. One screenshot shows David tagging her in a chat, and in another, members of his Discord community appear to discuss his interactions with her. This has sparked major backlash online, with people demanding answers about how much David's fan base really knew. And it doesn't stop there. In August 2024, just a few months after Celeste's disappearance, messages surfaced of users telling David to drop the one with the missing girl, apparently referring to a song he had teased. Even Celeste's Discord profile activity seemed to vanish around the same time, which lined up with her disappearance. The internet is now flooded with speculation, and the timeline of events makes this story even more chilling. Did David know more than he's letting on? And why are these screenshots surfacing now when the case is back in the spotlight? And then there's David's music. Right before Celeste vanished, an unreleased track leaked online with the title Celeste Demo, and the lyrics talked about David being obsessed with a girl named Celeste. That alone set off alarm bells, but things only get stranger from there. Celeste's mother admitted in interviews that she knew her daughter was connected to David before the disappearance, while a teacher later told TMZ that Celeste had previously run off to Hollywood to be with him. Authorities reportedly found her and brought her back home, but fans are asking why more wasn't done at the time. On top of that, photos and videos have surfaced showing David hanging around some of the biggest names in the music scene, including Billie Eilish and Katai. Now people are questioning, how much did the industry know about David's darker side, and why didn't anyone step in? That's the part making this story even more controversial. We also can't ignore the Discord leaks. Screenshots suggest that even some of David's own fans were aware of his questionable connections to Celeste, and yet no one came forward. Even more puzzling, fans are now side-eyeing Celeste's family because her mother admitted to knowing about David all along. Online speculation has even gone as far as suggesting David may have been paying the family to stay quiet, though nothing has been confirmed. This isn't just a story about one artist, is turning into a scandal that drags in the music industry, family ties, and even fandom culture. One woman from Lake Elsinore, the area where Celeste's family lives, jumped into the conversation online, claiming that the family allegedly accepted $10,000 a week from David to keep their connection going. According to her, the parents always knew what was happening, and that's why some fans are now dragging the family and demanding they be held accountable. One user even wrote, "With the whole David situation, I am indeed parent shaming because what? How is it that you know your daughter's boyfriend's name is David, but not that he's a whole grown man? And why were the connections not made? A year ago, a whole Discord server knew and didn't say a word. 2 + 2 = 5. That comment set off a wildfire online, with people saying this feels like yet another case where families turn a blind eye just because someone's rich and famous. The fact that this conversation is happening in real time makes the situation even more explosive. Now, speaking of fame, another theory that's blowing up online ties this back to Kanye's infamous words about Hollywood and sacrifices. Kanye didn't just randomly say, "My mama was sacrificed." He framed it as a pattern in the industry where loved ones and people closest to artists are used as a way to control them through trauma. So when you connect that idea to Celeste's case, people can't help but notice how David's world tour lined up with the discovery of her body. And suddenly, Kanye's clip hits completely different. As if things weren't already messy, the internet started digging into David's past lyrics and performances, and what they found left people speechless. Some tracks suddenly sound way darker now, with references that fans claim mirror real events tied to Celeste. What once seemed like artistic expression is now being reread as straight-up confessions. Online sleuths are combing through his entire catalog, and clips are going viral where David appears to brag about secrets only he would know. Whether it's coincidence or something more sinister, fans are saying the music itself may hold the biggest clues. Meanwhile, David's team is doing everything they can to shut this down. PR statements, deleted posts, and even legal threats have been flying since the Tesla discovery hit the news. But the harder they try to bury it, the more suspicious it looks. Screenshots of deleted tweets, vanished Discord servers, and sudden account bans are fueling conspiracy theories that there's a massive cover-up happening behind the scenes. People are asking, if David has nothing to hide, why is his camp working overtime to erase the paper trail? And let's not forget the industry ties. David hasn't just been floating around on his own. He's been seen with some of the biggest names in music, hanging backstage, partying in VIP sections, and even collaborating on unreleased tracks. Now fans are questioning how much those artists knew and if they've been protecting David this whole time. Some insiders even whisper that his rise wasn't natural at all, that powerful figures in the business were boosting him no matter what dirt came out. It's making people wonder, is this really about talent, or has David been a protected asset from day one? And here's where things get chilling. Whispers of a longer cut of footage tied to David have surfaced. According to insiders, there's more evidence sitting in private files that could expose exactly who was involved and what really happened. The clips floating online right now are already disturbing enough, but if that full video ever leaks, it could destroy reputations across the industry. Some fans believe this is why everyone's scrambling to control the narrative. Because the truth isn't just about David, it could drag down a whole circle of artists, executives, and insiders. The storm hanging over this case is far from over. Court records are now being dragged into the spotlight, and they paint a picture that's hard to ignore. Fans have uncovered past filings that suggest David was already on the radar of authorities long before Celeste's case exploded. Whether it was smaller disputes, restraining orders, or whispers of disturbing behavior, the paper trail seems to show warning signs everywhere. And now the big question is, how did he keep slipping through the cracks when all these red flags were stacking up? At the same time, David's social media is turning into a war zone. Every new post he makes is instantly flooded with comments demanding answers, calling him out, and dragging his name through the mud. Hashtags linking him to Celeste's case are trending worldwide, and fans are split between defending their idol and accusing him of being guilty. What used to be a loyal fan base has now become a battlefield, and David can't control the narrative anymore. And then there's the money trail. Rumors are swirling that David was funneling cash into hush deals, quiet settlements, and even payouts to silence certain people close to the case. release. While none of these payments have been confirmed, screenshots of alleged transactions are circulating online, and the numbers are shocking. If true, this would mean David wasn't just trying to hide something. He was actively buying silence while continuing his rise in the music industry. Industry insiders are now pointing fingers at the labels and managers who stood by David while all of this chaos unfolded. The question being asked is simple. How much did they know, and why didn't they cut ties sooner? With photos of David smiling alongside executives and walking red carpets at major award shows, fans are accusing the industry of protecting its own at the expense of justice. This isn't just David's scandal anymore. It's becoming a black eye for the entire business. And while David's camp stays silent on most of the accusations, fans are noticing his sudden shift in behavior. The once confident performer now looks anxious in public appearances, avoiding eye contact and rushing off stage the moment his set ends. Paparazzi shots show him looking exhausted, hunched over and paranoid, like someone who knows the walls are closing in. People are saying his career might already be over, not because of canceled shows or lack of streams, but because his entire image is collapsing in real time. Reporters are now digging into David's touring schedule, and the timing is suspicious. When Celeste's body was discovered, David was in the middle of a massive world tour, performing to sold-out crowds while headlines back home were exploding. Some are saying the tour itself was a distraction, a way to keep him busy and shielded while the controversy built behind the scenes. Fans are asking, was this just bad timing? Or did the industry deliberately send him on tour to dodge the storm? And then there's the music videos. Fans are rewatching them with fresh eyes, and suddenly every strange symbol, lyric, and scene is under the microscope. Clips that once looked like random artistic choices are now being labeled as hidden messages, with people breaking them down frame by frame. Some claim David was dropping hints the whole time, almost bragging about what was going on in real life. Whether it's just conspiracy theories or something more, the fact that fans are treating his catalog like evidence shows just how far this scandal has gone. Behind the scenes, major brands are starting to distance themselves from David. Sponsorships are vanishing, merch collabs are being pulled, and certain streaming platforms are quietly burying his music in the algorithm. What was once a fast rising star now looks like a liability no one wants to be tied to. Insiders are even whispering that contracts worth millions are on the line, and David could lose everything overnight if companies keep cutting him off. Meanwhile, conspiracy channels online are exploding with theories about who benefits from this scandal. Some believe David is a pawn, used and then discarded by bigger forces in the industry. Others think this is all about silencing him before he could reveal secrets of his own. Either way, his story is no longer just about him and Celeste. It's being tied to a much larger narrative about how the entertainment world handles its darkest scandals. And here's the most chilling part. Multiple insiders claim that this case is far from over, and more names could soon be exposed. If the whispers are true, David wasn't acting alone, and other figures in music, management, and even media could get dragged into the spotlight next. Fans are calling it a ticking time bomb, because once more evidence surfaces, the fallout won't just destroy David, it could shake the entire industry at its core. Court insiders are now hinting that sealed documents tied to David could soon be unsealed. And if that happens, everything changes. Rumors say the files include testimony, private messages, and even footage that hasn't seen the light of day. The possibility alone has fans buzzing, because it means the public might finally get an unfiltered look at what investigators already know. If those documents drop, David's carefully crafted image won't just crack, it could completely collapse overnight. At the same time, whispers are circulating about David's inner circle starting to turn on him. People who once stood by his side are suddenly going quiet, unfollowing him online, or even leaking details anonymously. That shift has fans convinced the loyalty is gone, and it's only a matter of time before someone close to David spills everything to save themselves. If his own crew flips, the scandal won't just end his career, it could expose the whole machinery behind him. Fame skyrocketed practically overnight, and not all artists close to David are keeping quiet. Santi P, who worked with him, even posted a TikTok claiming that David completely changed after signing his record deal. According to Santi, David used to be religious and often mentioned God in his music, but once the ink dried on that contract, all of that stopped, and Santi suggested this wasn't random at all, hinting that it was part of the contract's rules. This is striking because Kanye had already said the same thing years earlier, that industry contracts secretly restrict what artists can rap or sing about. And when you look at how David's story unfolded, those theories suddenly sound less like wild rants and more like a pattern. A rising star on a global tour, a girl tied to him in life and art, tattoos that match his songs, lyrics that name her directly, and then her body turning up inside his Tesla in plain sight. The biggest mystery is this: if David really had anything to do with it, why would he leave her body inside a car registered to him? That's like leaving fingerprints at a crime scene. And even stranger, how come police still haven't arrested David when so much of this points straight back to him? Whether guilty or innocent, the fact that her body was found in his car should have triggered serious consequences by now. Fans online keep saying the same thing: anybody else would have been arrested already. Something here just doesn't add up, and that's why this case is shaking the entire industry to its core. If you're following this story as closely as we are, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, share this video, and let us know in the comments what you think really happened.